No. 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 Okay. News from the booth! Hey villagers, welcome back to the VoiceOver Village. I'm Rick McIver, the village idiot and ground loop virtuoso. Today, we're going to talk about used gear, how to buy it, how not to get ripped off, and what you should be looking for. Right now, it can be really tough to find new gear because of supply chain issues or missing chipsets or production, supply chains, and all that kind of stuff. So, finding used gear could be the solution because used gear can be great. Now, I say that with a caveat because sometimes it's not. So let's dive into it. Here are my 8 rules for buying used gear. It's more like guidelines, really, maybe best practices. It's just to make sure that you don't get ripped off or have buyer's remorse. Mostly. Number 1, do your research. It has never been easier to do research. YouTube is full of microphone reviews, mine included, thank you very much. There are tons of them out there. If I haven't covered something, more than likely somebody has. Listen to all the reviews. Yeah, some of them can be a little stilted. People who are given the microphone to give it a positive review. That happens. I get emails all the time from companies saying,
"We'll give you this microphone, but here's what the title of the video needs to be, and here's what you should say, and blah, blah, blah."
No, thank you. The point is, there's a lot out there. You have a lot to choose from. It's easy to do your research to figure out which microphone you think will be best for you. Number 2, use a trusted reseller site. There are lots of places to buy used gear now. In fact, it's almost a little bit hard because there are so many places to buy used gear. Some have been around a little bit longer than others, some have better reputations than others, so here are a few of them that you can probably trust. eBay is a good place, but you have to be a little bit careful because there are a lot of counterfeit microphones on eBay. There's not really a lot of policing going on as to which ones are legit and which ones aren't. So buyer beware on that. Another one is Craigslist. Now, Craigslist is still around. It's an older one.
It's an older code, sir, but it checks out.
If some local studio is selling some gear, you could luck into some pretty good deals. But be careful. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Another online place is Reverb.com. Reverb is an interesting site because it's only music gear. They don't sell anything else like eBay does. eBay sells everything. Reverb only has music gear. And they police their content a little bit more so that it's legit. They protect their buyers and their sellers to an extent. I've had a few problems with some of the buyers on Reverb, but overall, most of them have been fine. There is a site on Facebook called the VO Gear Exchange. Now, this is great because all of the microphones that are listed on there, all of the gear, interfaces, sound treatment, whisper rooms, there's just about anything a voice actor could want on VO Gear Exchange. But the problem is, they're really not discounted enough. People sell a $900 microphone for $850, and I don't think that's a great idea to buy. And I'll get into that again a little bit later. But the benefit is that you get quality gear and you know it's been taken care of. So that's good. The last one is something you might not have thought of, and that's Guitar Center. They actually list all of their used gear online, and they tell you what is in your local Guitar Center store. So you can actually go there and touch it. I bought this at Guitar Center. It was a mistake, but I will talk about that again a little bit later. So those are some of the reputable sites that you can buy from. If you do use like Amazon and get used gear through Amazon, just be really, really careful that you are actually buying from someone who's got good reviews as a seller. On to number 3. Number 3, ask a lot of questions. And I mean a lot of questions. Start a dialogue, basically, with the seller because you're going to want to know, when did they buy it? Did they buy it new or did they buy it used? What have they used it for? How often did they use it? How did they store it when they weren't using it? Has it ever been dropped? Has it ever given them any problems? Did they notice that if it's sibilant or is it kind of muddy? What did they think of the quality? Why are they selling it? You can go on and on and on with these questions, and it's important because you want to establish a dialogue to find out if this seller is actually reputable. And it'll also give you an idea of how genuine and authentic the seller is and knowledgeable about the gear that you're buying from them. Number 4, trust your instinct. Trust that first reaction of, oh. If you have that reaction, proceed with caution. That's a huge red flag, and you got to go with your gut because it's that little subconscious stuff that actually will give you the best result as to whether or not you're buying a quality piece of gear. Because you might just notice that the shape is off a little bit. That could be a counterfeit. Maybe there's a dent in the grill. The microphone could have been dropped. If the finish isn't nice and clean, it's got dirt on it, or it's marked a little bit with like maybe a little bit of rust, maybe they stored it in a bad environment. There's all these little bitty subtle things that you'll probably pick up on, but can't necessarily articulate. It's just a feeling that maybe this isn't right. That's a huge red flag, and you got to listen to that. So I did not actually listen to that little voice when I purchased this microphone. I pulled it out of the case, and I noticed where the pop filter attaches, this screw was bent. And the chassis is a little loose. Listen. But because I bought it from Guitar Center, I know that they have a 45-day return policy. So I could take it home, I could plug it in and test it out and see how bad it is, and maybe open it up and see if it's just a simple loose wire or not, because it was a pretty good deal. I made a mistake. I should have listened to my gut. I'm taking it back. Number 5, don't buy entry-level mics used. When you buy a microphone that's entry-level, well, there's a reason, right? That microphone isn't built to last for 20 years. It is made less expensively. Expensively? Is that a... Anyway, because it's made a little bit cheaper, the components might not be soldered perfectly, that's not handmade. Whatever the reason might be, it's probably not built to last a decade, right? So if you have a microphone that's a $100 microphone, let's say I'm about to review this guy, this Donner, this is like $75, right? I would never buy this used because the cost benefit just isn't there. It's already cheap. I might as well buy it cheap, right? So if you're looking to upgrade from your entry-level microphone into a mid-level or higher microphone, that's where you start looking for used gear. Number 6, use a credit card for protection. A lot of the credit card companies have some sort of buyer protection program that's in the credit card. Plus, if you buy it and it turns out to be a dud or it never shows up, at least you have some way to get your money back. Just don't use a debit card or send a money order or a check or something like that, because if something goes wrong, you probably are out of luck. Number 7, if you are going to meet in person, be safe. Craigslist, Reverb, eBay, they all have local pickup options, which means you can go and meet the seller and get the product in your hand and take it home with you. Try to bring a friend with you, or at least tell somebody where and when you're going. Also, if you have the ability, take a portable recorder with a XLR mic cable and a pair of headphones. That way you can test it there, right then on the spot. If the seller refuses and doesn't allow you to test the microphone, walk away. You want to test it to see if it works, to see if there's any rattling or humming. Stop, 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 stop. Obviously, I didn't test this before I bought it. However, I'll be taking it back, so it's okay. If you buy this microphone without testing it and you hand the seller cash and you walk away and they walk away, chances are, if it doesn't work, you'll never be able to contact them again. And finally, number 8, ask yourself, is it worth it? Is the item marked down enough that it's worth buying it used over new? I use a rough figure of about 20%. If the item is 20% less than the retail asking price for new, then I'll consider it. If it's less than 20%, well, then I think that it's not worth it because I don't have a warranty, I don't have a registration, I have no way to exchange the item. It's just something to think about. I use 20% as my line in the sand. If someone is selling a $500 microphone for $450, well, to me, that's not worth the discount. I would rather get it new and be assured that the person who used it didn't, like, drool in it. I never thought of that before. I just kind of came up with that. That's kind of gross. So there you go. Those are my 8 rules, guidelines, best practices for buying used gear. I hope this has been helpful. So if you're looking for an entry-level mic, something that's $100 or less, I made a video about great condenser microphones that cost less than $100. I'll put a link to it right there. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Until next time.